speechless here. So the only thing I can really think of is to borrow the words of an old friend of mine who retired about 15 years ago. Very well-known guy over in Albany. Man's name was Pepe Coletti. And the first words out of his mouth at his retirement party was, "Who the heck invited Boyle to this thing?" Were you going to say something?
Okay, there's no corned beef here.
I coached this man for 10 days. He was supposed to say,
You did.
he's right.
You did, you nitwit. Just like the other part.
Well, you know, you just heard me ask everybody for permission to borrow his words. You took George Garibelli's words because he used to call everybody a nitwit or a bug. And George Garibelli was the former owner of Joe's Grill that I otherwise call my office. It's currently owned by Annie and Eddie Barbagallo that are sitting there right near Mr. Boyle. But it presents an opportunity to tell a story about Joe's. We had a get-together scheduled down there one night on Easter Sunday night about 4 years ago, and Kelly Riley was amongst this little clan. So I walked in, and I actually walked past Mike Boyle. He was in the back of the bar, and up to the front, and there was this big guy standing there talking to Kelly, and I think Sherry Newcomb was there. And after a while, this guy went down the back of the bar, and I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes later, I bought a round for the bar. So I heard those words from Mr. Boyle, "Irish Tommy Durkin, thank you for that round." Well, all of a sudden, this big guy started walking very steadily towards the front of the bar, and he couldn't take his eyes off of me. And I thought to myself, I just bought him a drink. He's not gonna hit me or anything. So he walks up and he says, "Are you the Tom Durkin that works at GE?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Do you know who I am?" And I looked at him, and I said, "Well, I'll be honest with you. I've seen your face before, but I can't put a name to it." So he stuck out his hand and he introduced himself. He says, "I'm Danny Briere." So, would you give a wave to everybody, Danny? And he's the son of Bernie Briere.
Bernie, is that right?
Yes, all of us people in 128 remember him. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming here today, and I got to introduce everybody else up here at the head table. To the far right is one of our board members, Art Schwartz, our treasurer, Kyle James, our vice president, Gary Maseka, and of course everybody's met Bob DeMario. At the far end of the table is Bill Lehman, our recording secretary, Mike Vassie, and another board member, Eddie Miller. And I saved one of my favorite people in the world for last. They haven't allowed us to work together for over 20 years because we just had too much fun. But the famous words out of Louis, I promised them I was going to say it. I was called back to work in about this time of the year, September of 1993. I'd been laid off for about 6 years. And Louis said, "Well, what have you been doing with yourself?" And I said, "Well, just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I drove a bus in Forrest Gump." And Louis replied, "Tom, nobody would name a movie Forrest Gump." So I had to sit on that for about 6 months, and then I was driving up through Philadelphia one day, and I saw this shocking lime green billboard that said "Gump" on it, and I knew it would be pretty soon that movie would be out in Albany. So, but you know, thank you everybody for coming, and hope you enjoyed the meal.